Hey everyone, it's Lois. As promised, I'm going to be showing you some techniques for facial feminization. This is my beautiful model Annie. She is very brave. She is without wig and barefaced right now, just to show you all how we get started. Can you remove your glasses, please? Okay, so the first step in any feminization technique, it's actually really good skincare. We're not going to show you what Annie does, but we'll describe it a little bit. It starts with, of course, all of our beautiful trans ladies, or a lot of our beautiful trans ladies, have this area here to deal with, which is like a little bit of a beard and mustache. A lot of them are in transition to getting that removed or don't have the money necessarily to do hair removal. Annie is in the middle of hair removal, but you can still see it's a shadow. It's later in the evening, so there's more shadow than there normally would be. So the first thing she does is she uses a good scrub and then does a really close shave in the morning, followed by like an aftershave balm, and then she'll do like a toner and a day moisturizer for the day, and in the evening she takes off all her makeup, and she also does a wash, a scrub, a toner, and a nighttime moisturizer. It's especially important for women who are over a certain age, which we are, and it's really important for everybody. So that's our basis. If anybody has any questions about skincare or about what we do, you can definitely contact me and ask. If not, that's fine. Just make sure that you're cleaned, scrubbed, and moisturized, which is especially important with the removal of the facial hair. All right, so the first thing that we always do is we always prime. This primer, you'll see, has a little bit of a peachy undertone. The reason why we're doing that is because Annie is Caucasian and brunette, so her
5 o'clock shadow.
her facial hair gives off sort of like a bluish tint. Rosy colors and peachy colors will mute that down. So we just do this sort of all over the face, wherever it's needed. I'm going to try to do her face sort of at this angle so that you guys can see, but I may have to have her turn toward me. But we'll try to give, obviously, the best ideas possible. What I do is I put it on my fingertips like this. Then I rub the fingertips together. And I choose my spots. So I start here because she has big pores right here. And also huge pores on her nose. The thing is that a lot of people who are touched by testosterone, they have very oily skin. And that causes bigger pores. So this will sort of dampen that down and give a little bit more of a smooth, glassier finish to the skin. And then we'll just do a little bit around the beard area, not too much, because we want our other products to set. All right. So here we go. Annie is also a really good sport. She hates it when people touch her face. Hates it, and I do a lot of bouncing and touching, so you'll notice that she's probably not gonna be the most happy. She makes that face a lot when I'm doing her makeup. She usually does her own base now, and I just take over on the eyes and sometimes lips, but it's a little bit hard to like do and show at the same time. So Annie's drying off. While she's drying off, just so everybody knows, this is how I look at home all the time. So like barefaced with my rosacea and everything that you can see, because I'm always so busy doing everybody else's makeup and beauty and nails and hair and all that other stuff. So in terms of videos, you're probably going to see this way more than you'll see any of my makeup looks, which I sometimes post on Facebook and Instagram. If you're interested in knowing how to cover up red skin, I can always do a demo on that. Just let me know.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Okay, so that seems pretty dry. So when Annie had more beard than what she has now, we used this, which is a very, very burnt orange color, and it's very pigmented. which means it's difficult to use. You have to make sure you don't put too much, and you have to make sure that you blend it out, and you have to make sure you cover it properly. This is not our first choice for either of us because it sometimes bleeds into the other makeup, and especially not for her doing it herself because she's not the most patient. However, if you are new and you have a really large shadow, again, this is for the blue brown shadow that you would have if you're a brunette, we recommend this. It is called, hang on, what's it called? LA Girl Pro Conceal. And the color is...
you can put it in the comment.
I believe it's burnt orange, but I mean, you can't miss it. It's the only really orange concealer. I won't show you how to use this today, but if you want to know how to use it, you can definitely contact me, or we'll do another demo with it another time. Also, I would recommend to my beautiful ladies of color, if you're darker skinned with darker hair, you would go for this one over the one that I'm going to show you. If you have a red beard situation, you'd want to cover it more with a purple or a green, but the procedure would be the same. If you're blonde or white haired, that's a little bit more difficult. You may want to go for just a more full coverage foundation. Okay, so what we use is we use the NYX palette. It has all the colors you notice that I mentioned. Here's the peachy one that we tend to use, and I tend to mix it with this one because that's close to Annie's skin tone. Sorry, our light, it's really good to be able to see the faces, but you can see everything in it. You can get this on Amazon, so I'll be using these two, but also you can see that there's the green there, and there's the purple, which is great for me to cover up that rosacea. So we just grab some on the finger, like that. No fancy stuff. And we tap it right into the area that we want to cover. And that tone will neutralize the bluish tone of the hairs underneath. Now that would work even if you're a cisgender girl, if you have a little bit of a beard or a mustache, because we know that that sometimes happens. The reason I'm doing a tapping motion and not a sweeping motion is because I want to get it in between those individual hairs to help with the texture as well. You'll see that there's a little bit on the side here. It's no big deal. It's all going to get covered up. And he has like a big sort of devil's point down here. And also a little bit more kind of down here on the chin. I'm going to ask you to look toward me now, sweetie. And you can already see, though it's not perfect, it's lightened up quite a bit. And you guys have a real close-up look because of the ring light that we're using. If this was in regular lighting, you wouldn't see the beard hairs at all anymore. Now I take a little bit of the tone that's closer to her skin tone just to sort of mute that out. You always want to be careful when you're layering that you don't end up with too much product on, because that can just slide off. So you really want to have like just, you can't even see it on my finger really, just a little bit. Now there are two options that we have here. One is that we can set this and then put our foundation over. Two is that we cannot do that. So we could let it dry a little bit and then proceed with the foundation from up to down. You want to do this part last, so in case any of the color does bleed, you don't get it over the whole entire face. While she's drying, we're going to talk a little bit about eyebrows, because another thing that's important for a good feminization look is feminine eyebrows. Now, Annie's eyebrows have been, one, touched by testosterone, and two, touched by age. So they were very, very fluffy. is the word I would use. They were quite there. Like if you look at me as a cisgender female, I have this thin line. That's my natural brow. All I've done is plucked sort of the unibrow in here and a few stray hairs. If you look at Annie's, you can already tell that they require quite a bit of maintenance and plucking every couple of days. A good rule of thumb, and this is for if you're transgender or cisgender, or male or female actually, is if you're interested in framing your face with your brows, is that if you take a makeup brush, any makeup brush, doesn't have to be fancy, and you lay it up against your nose like that, that's where your brow should start. So you would pluck away anything that goes beyond that. If you cross your brush over the iris from the nose, that's where your arch should be. So you would pluck a little more up in here to give it a little bit more of an arch. And if you go to the corner of your eye from the tip of your nose, that's where the end of your eyebrow should be. So you pluck everything that's further than there, and that'll give you an arch that goes with your face. It's not as thin as it normally is because of COVID. We haven't been able to see our friend who does a lot of the waxing. So I've been plucking hair by hair by hair by hand. But normally it would be a little thinner than that. I'm just afraid to overpluck her because hair is not my specialty. Okay, so now she's a little bit drier. I'm gonna just take a little bit of this, it's like Tarte loose powder stuff. Not a lot, like I'll even blow off some of it, and I'll just put a bit of powder. Because this product that I used is cream, if you put powder on top, it kind of sets it. If you're already using a powder, that's fine, but a powder wouldn't be strong enough to cover a beard color. Okay, so the next step is foundation. You use any foundation that goes with your skin tone. If you don't know how to match yourself, it's not easy, but it can be simple. So it goes by color and darkness of skin. So if you look at Annie, you can see she's a little bit more yellow than me, which means she's a cool undertone. She's an olive skin. If you look at me, you can see I'm more rosy. That means that I'm a warm undertone. I'm a rosy skin. We're both pretty pale. So you would have to actually physically look at your foundation to see the color. As you can see, it matches her relatively closely. It's a little bit lighter than her skin tone. I normally wouldn't match a cisgender woman like this, but a transgender woman, it's better to brighten the face, because the brighter the face is, the more camouflaged it is, and the more feminine it looks. Also, you add contour and you add color and everything, so it's not just this white background. You're gonna see. If you are a lady of color, it is a little bit more difficult to match yourself. There are some brands that have darker colors, and there are some that even specialize in darker skin. I don't have them off the top of my head, but I can definitely put them either in the notes or in a later video. But that's a little bit difficult with mainstream brands sometimes. Yes, but I'm definitely going to touch on that a little bit more. I'm more versed definitely in our type of skin tone, because that's what I work with every day, but I am open to learning more. So if anybody also wants to tell me stuff, I'm open to that. What else do I have to say about foundation? Okay, so how do you know if you're a cool skin tone or warm skin tone? It's really easy. If you look at the veins on your arm, you can see that if your veins look more green, then you're likely a cool skin tone. You're likely an olive skin and a more yellow undertone. If your veins look blue, like mine do, I don't know if you can see them, then you're probably a rosy undertone or a warm tone. All right, so we're gonna get started with this foundation. There's lots of different ways to put on foundation. There are many different ways to skin a cat where this is concerned. We use a sponge, a makeup sponge, a dry sponge, and I just plop some on my hand My hand looks like a Picasso by the time I'm done doing a makeup, by the way, because it all goes like there. And then I mix it and so forth. So what I do is I use the fat end just to do the bigger areas. For Annie, I'll start on the forehead and you just bounce it in. You bounce it into the skin. Now it's not going to look perfect at first. You have to continuously be blending.
Make sure to blend it into your hairline.
Not only the hairline. If you accidentally get some in your eyebrow, no problem, because you're just going to draw on some more eyebrow later. But I try to avoid the eyebrow as much as I can. And you just keep bouncing. You bounce, 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 bounce. This is not Annie's favorite, but that's how you get the look, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so her skin is really well moisturized, and you can tell it's just sort of like soaking it up, which is great. If you have dry skin or not cared for skin, your skin will be flaking at this time. And that's not something we want. That's not cute. Down the bridge of the nose. And then I just take like the more tapered area and I go in around the nose. If your foundation dries quickly, which this one does, you have to work quickly. If you have any rough edges where it's dried, you can take your hand, because the heat of your hand will activate it again, and sort of just rub it in. You have to make sure you have clean skin and clean hands. If you touch your skin with dirty hands and you get acne, don't come blaming me. Now for the beard area, we're going to do it a little bit more gently because we don't want to disrupt what's underneath. So we're just going to tap, 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 tap gently. And don't forget that jawline area. That's a dead giveaway. Sorry, sweetie, I'm going to have you look at me. I just want to make sure I don't get rid of any of that product that's underneath. So yeah, as I said, blend, 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 blend into the jawline, because that jawline will be a dead giveaway that you're wearing makeup. Again, this isn't the perfect situation. She'd normally be facing me, and I'd normally be standing above her for leverage. But again, I want you guys to see as much as possible, as well as get the explanation. So we're going to make do with what we've got. Okay, so we're going to blend into the jaw area. Sometimes you even want to blend into the ear.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen gorgeous makeup gurus, like one comes to mind, Nikki. I forget her last name. She's this gorgeous transgender girl from Norway, I believe. And she does beautiful makeup all over her face, and she leaves her ears beet red. So oftentimes, those things will give you away. Also, way up into the hairline. If you have natural hair, congratulations. If not, your wig is going to cover that, so you want to make sure that it's all sort of the same color. Did I leave anything out, sweetie?
Not really.
No?
It's also not a big deal if you get it a little bit on the lips, because lip liner or lipstick can go right over it.
Yep. So she looks like a little bit of a ghost right now, but that's what she's supposed to look like. And now I'm going to make her look even more ghosty, because I'm going to highlight the areas on the skin that would normally be highlighted if you were a cisgender female,
or if you were just walking out in the sun when it comes down.
So what we're trying to focus on is the center area of the face should be light color, and the peripherals of the face should be dark. What that does is it minimizes any bigness that you have going on here, and it maximizes all the cute stuff that you want to see in the middle. So I have here tart shape tape. Tart shape tape. All right, we spent 20 minutes almost talking about skin. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this up into a few videos so it's more digestible, because you may not want to watch an hour-long video. So yeah, stay tuned for part 2, which is going to be highlight and contour, and then we'll see how many more we break it up into. All right, see you soon.